You're listening to The Bloodshed Baddies.
Hi, I'm Lex,
And I'm Sam.
and we are the Bloodshed Baddies.
What is up, baddies?
Hello, hello, hello.
We missed you.
I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Yes, I hope you have a lot to be thankful for and are excited for the holiday season upon us of Christmas or
Samantha,
Hanukkah.
have you bought any presents yet?
I actually did. Only like a couple. I can't pat myself on the back too much, but
I've bought literally zero.
okay, makes me feel better.
Okay, so today, for those of you who are on the TikTok and for those of you who are not, we're a
Me.
little late. We're a little late to the trend, but there's been a trend going around recently where you show a video of someone running and their friend, significant other, someone in their life says, like they're on a police broadcast, suspect, but then continue to roast that person. So Sam and I thought it would be fun to do that
Okay.
trend today.
Lexi had to explain it though, because I'm not a TikTok person, but after she explained it, I do think it's going to be hilarious. You'll get to know us more.
Should I go first?
So you're going to suspect me?
Yeah, so you got to pretend to run.
All right, I'm running baddies.
Suspect is an English major, but still mispronounces words on the podcast.
That's very accurate. Am I still running or is it my turn?
No, it's my turn.
Okay.
Now I'm running.
Suspect was afraid of the wind as a child.
It's very true. My cousins, we'd be outside and they'd say, Lex, the wind's coming. And I would run inside screaming.
So we have like a big freak in our mix.
Okay, are you ready?
All right, I'm back to running.
Suspect thinks that dating for 11 years before getting married is a personality trait.
Hey, I will ride and die on that train. Not for everybody, but worked out for me. Background, my husband and I dated for 11 years before getting married. All right, get your little running on. Suspect cried in high school when there was onions on her McDonald's cheeseburger.
Literally knew you were going to do this one.
No, you didn't.
I literally thought about it. I was like, what is Sam going to do for me? I'm like, she's going to do the fucking onions.
She was in high school. It's not like she was like in middle school or like elementary, high school baddies.
I also did it as an adult when I was married to my ex-husband. We got Big Macs and we said no onions and mine had onions on it. I cried and we were home and he drove back to McDonald's and got me a new one.
All right, at least he did that, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
Okay. Ready?
I'm running.
Suspect thinks all other dogs are ugly compared to hers.
This is actually a fear I have about children. My dog is the cutest dog. I'm so sorry. All right, and this is the last one, right? Run your little butt off, girly. Suspect got stuck in a tree and peed her pants. Do you remember? And then you had to run home with pee all over you. And me and Gina just laughed.
So Sam and I both have, as adults, peed our pants from laughing so hard.
Oh, for sure. We have bladders.
weak bladders.
Yeah.
And when I was in high school, we used to climb this tree, me, Sam, and my cousin Gina, to read books in. And I got stuck and everybody was laughing so hard that I peed my pants while hanging from a tree branch.
And while we were on the ground just staring at her, watch her pants fill with pee. And then she finally got down, held her butt, and ran all the way home.
Oh my God.
Good. I like it. I love a good roast.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And a funny start to, a rough case.
I'm not excited about this one.
No. So should we jump into it?
Yes. One of our listeners recommended this case, right?
Yes. That's what my first line is. Today's case is actually our first case suggestion.
Woo-woo!
So keep them coming, baddies. We love it. It made me very pumped to do the research, so I really got into it.
Shout out to Julia.
Hey, Julia, thanks. We love you. It was a case I knew about previously myself, but oh my God, I think I literally blocked out how dark it was. Sorry.
I actually, when we got this case suggestion, told Samantha she had to do it because this case gives me a stomachache.
Yes. So today I will be telling you about the murders of Shanann, CeCe, Bella, and Nico. I found a lot of articles for my research and watched the documentary on Netflix, which I highly recommend. I was also planning on reading a book about this case, but it seems like Shanann's family does not appreciate the books put out about her. They're not very nice to Shanann, which whatever. So I did not read the books, and they are very appreciative of the Netflix documentary. So they said that it paints her in the light that was Shanann. Most of the background, though, that I got came from a podcast episode of True Crime Exposed, which you all should listen to. It was really informative, and it was a girl and her mom talking about it. So I thought that was really cute.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so go listen to them.
We love a family podcast here.
Hello. Anyway, January 10th, 1984, Frank and Sandy Russick gave birth to Shanann Catherine Russick in Clifton, New Jersey. And yes, it is pronounced Shanann. I'm going to make sure I try very hard to say it that way. It is not Shannon. Her parents apparently got her name from a 60s group, I think.
Ooh.
I know, cool. 2 years later, her little brother Frankie is born. They eventually moved to Aberdeen, North Carolina, where she grew up. Allegedly, in middle school, people were mean, as is middle school, I feel. So she didn't really have a group that she felt like she fit in with. But in 1999, her family moves to Southern Pines, and she attends high school at Pinecrest High School. In high school, she really meets her people. She has good teachers and is just in a better place. She starts dating a boy named Leonard her senior year. And I feel like I didn't know this, so a lot of other people might not, but she actually marries him right out of high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which makes
I don't think I realized that.
no. And I was thinking like at first, like, oh my gosh, that's kind of wild. But I feel like it's kind of normal to do that in the South. And that's where she was. So things are great at first in her marriage. Leonard actually wants to be a lawyer. So he joins the army to help out with law school. Shanann also starts college around this time, but sadly, she ends up dropping out because she feels like she has to support her husband. Law school is a big endeavor. So, kind of like she needs to focus on his schooling in that aspect. Although she drops out, she does become a manager of 2 cell phone stores that she was working at. And it really just shows how driven of a person she is. Like, whatever she put her minds to, she does. Sadly, though, this hurts her marriage. I think the fact that like her dreams had to be put on hold had to be pretty hard on them both. And sadly, Shanann and Leonard end up getting divorced.
Oh,
I know. She spoke in a Facebook post that she really lost herself in the marriage and it just wasn't good for her anymore. So I say good for you for getting out then.
yeah. I think that's the case a lot of times when you get married young, especially that young. You don't even know who you are yet. So it's tough.
100%. This causes her to start over completely financially. And she moves to Charlotte and actually enrolls in some university classes there. And in November of 2009, at the age of just 25 years old, she ends up doing one of her biggest goals in life, which was building her own home. And it was absolutely beautiful. Big, stunning, amazing, beautiful house.
Let's go, girl.
I know, baddie alert. So, an amazing accomplishment. Her friends would later describe her as a ball of love, a fireball, a bright light. One friend said that she can be quote unquote bossy, but she meant it in a good way. She said she pushes people to be better and it's more in a motivating way and not in like a negative term that is often thrown around.
I hate the word bossy also because you never hear a boy be called bossy. You only hear women be called bossy. And it's usually when they are like in a leadership role or being a leader. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Preach. And that's what I like that her friend said, but in a good way, because I don't think that it always needs to be the negative thing, like you're saying. People put a negative aspect on it. Shanann even admits to being the dominant, quote unquote, one in the relationship in a Facebook post that she posts after marrying Chris. So, she is just like, yeah, that's who I am. After she moves into this home, she starts losing a lot of weight. Her hair is falling out and she really doesn't feel like herself.
Oh, no.
So she goes to the doctor and finds out that she has lupus and fibromyalgia.
Oh,
both of which are autoimmune diseases. She is also told that she can't have kids at this time. So this, of course, is a big shock and a big stressor in her life. And she feels like she's just in a really dark space for a little bit. While all of this is going on, she decides to finally respond to a message that Chris Watts has sent her. This is not the first time he messaged her, actually. He sent her a friend request a little while ago and another message. She accepted the request, but she did not message him back. And on this day, she's like, what the heck? And she decides to message him back. So a little bit about Christopher Lee Watts. He was born on May 16th, 1985, so close in age with Shanann. He is the second child of Sydney and Ronnie Watts and has an older sister, Jamie Watts, who is 7 years older. Apparently, when he was growing up, he kept to himself and was pretty isolated from everyone. He was, however, super close to his dad. Chris attended Pine Forest High School in Fayetteville, probably pronounced it wrong. According to the high school yearbook, he was a part of the patriotic page and he was in automotive repairs. He does excel in this automotive class, and in 2003, he graduates from high school and goes to the NASCAR Technical Institute. His parents help him out a lot, but he also gets a part-time job at Ford. This is like really weird, and I just feel like I have to add it. But allegedly, his dad starts doing coke because he misses his son so much. And then they do like an intervention for him and he stops.
Okay. A, that's weird. B, where does this take place in?
This is right now, they're both in North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay. I think you did say Fayetteville, right? Because we have a Fayetteville, Michigan. And then when you said you worked at Ford, I was like, I didn't think this was a Michigan case, but it's not.
Moving on. He graduates with honors and he starts applying to NASCAR and is sending application after application. And he finally gets an interview, but he doesn't get the job. And he just takes it as his dream is over, which I'm sure you could still try. Like, you didn't get the job the first time, show some initiative and keep applying, but he didn't. So he was just like, that dream's over. Anyway, at this time, also, he's going through a breakup with his first serious girlfriend. And his cousin, who actually worked with Shanann, tells him to message her. So he does. He doesn't get the reply, gives it one more shot. And then this brings us to they are both messaging each other now.
Isn't it weird, like how you can pinpoint the point in someone's life where it all went wrong?
Yeah, it's scary a little bit. So in 2010, they officially meet. From a Facebook video she posted, Shanann said that he really helped her out of that very dark place that she was in. She pushed him away at first. She gave him every reason to leave, but he stuck through it all with her. And these are from her own words. She felt like herself more and felt like he saved her. Her parents even say in an interview later that they really liked him the first time they met him because with the lupus and whatnot, she was really, really tired all the time. And she ended up falling asleep on him and she slept for hours and he didn't move a muscle and just let her sleep the whole entire time.
I don't want to say anything nice about this man, but that's very sweet.
I know. And from a parent perspective, you're like, this is what my daughter needs. Less than 2 years later, they officially tie the knot November 3rd, 2012 in Mecklenburg County. On the Netflix documentary, you can tell she is so happy and she looks so beautiful. Chris also seems to be really happy too. But something weird about the wedding is that Chris's family is not in attendance. Apparently, his mom and sister do not care for Shanann, which is still really brutal that even you don't care for her, you're going to miss your own son's wedding.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No, I think that's so weird. After they get
there,
the dad, mom, and sister are not there.
So your dad misses you enough to do coke, but not enough to come to your wedding?
Bizarre. Yeah. After they get married, they visit Colorado and both fall in love with Colorado and decide to move to Frederick, Colorado, which kind of reminds me of how you ended up in Tennessee, Lex.
Yeah.
Shanann starts working at a direct sales company selling wellness products for a company called Thrive. So she's able to work from home and she's also posting on social media a lot, probably to get more followers for her sales company. I also feel like if it was nowadays, Shanann would have been like an influencer. She posted her thoughts. She posted cute videos of her family, her kids getting ready, of Chris, things like that. So she posted a lot on social media, which helped people get to know her better.
And this was a time, right, when like Facebook was just like kind of taken off. Yeah. Around this time.
Chris starts working at Anadarko Petroleum Corporation, which was an oil company. Shortly after moving to Colorado in 2013, even being told she can't have kids anymore, their first daughter, Bella Marie Watts, was born December 17th, 2013.
That's so exciting.
I know. It had to have been such an excitement for them. They would call her Bells as a nickname, and she's such a cutie pie. From the videos posted, she seems like a really sweet, calm little girl. She told her mom when she was 3 she wanted to be Elsa when she grew up, which is just so cute. In one video posted, and this is so heartbreaking, and it's in the Netflix documentary, Bella is actually singing a song about how her daddy is her hero.
Oh my, makes me want to cry.
I know. It's watching it. I got chills and I got chills now just saying it. 2 years later, July 17th, 2015, Celeste Catherine Watts was born. First, I think Celeste is such a beautiful name.
It's so pretty.
It's so pretty and different. Her nickname was CeCe, which is also just so cute.
Oh my gosh, so cute.
CeCe reminds me of like classic second child me when I was little, just a ball of energy, nonstop moving middle child. Both the girls are so cute and they have this like short hair. And in all the pictures and videos, they look like they just love being sisters. They love their mom. They love their dad. And by all accounts, Shanann is a really, really involved mother. The same year that CeCe was born, though, in 2015, the Watts declared bankruptcy. Records show they had less than $10 left in their savings accounts.
Oh, wow.
So, pretty rough. Documents also show they had amassed more than $70,000 worth of debt, mostly from credit card purchases.
Ooh, that's a lot of credit card debt.
There's no proof, though, that financial struggle played a role in any of this. But by all accounts, they had a very happy marriage. And a lot of people said they thought that they were really happy. On June 11th, 2018, she posted a video of her surprising Chris wearing a shirt that says, "Oops, we did it again," because Chris and Shanann are officially pregnant with their third child.
That's such a cute way to announce it.
I love it. And this is June 11th, 2018. All of this happens pretty quickly after this. Chris looks excited and even says something along the lines of like, when you want it, it happens, appearing that it seems like that they both wanted this third child. Shanann posts a video saying that she hopes it's a boy for Chris, which is cute. And then they officially find out it is a boy, and they plan to name him Nico. Also in June of that year, June 14th, 2018. So just 3 days after Shanann tells him she's pregnant, Chris Watts adds a new contact number into his phone of a woman who works with him, Nicole Kessinger.
Boo.
Right. And by the end of June, they're having a full-blown secret affair. Apparently, he told Nicole, the mistress, he was getting divorced, that he lived in the basement and that they were getting ready to sell the house and that the divorce would be finalized in August.
This poor woman, like, how are you supposed to know differently?
And remember August. Just remember that. He told her that. However, Mistress Gurley Googled everything and eventually her phone is taken in, which we'll hear more about later. And in July, she Googled, quote, "Man I'm having an affair with says he will leave his wife," quote. So a little sus.
Oh, so maybe she did know, and now I can't stick up for her if she did.
I know. I honestly, I couldn't tell you either way, but there are some things that are pretty suspicious. She also claims that she didn't know Shanann was pregnant, but some people find that really hard to believe because one, we'll see that she did Google a lot of things. And two, Shanann posted all over Facebook about her life and things going on. So people were like, she probably would have Googled or Facebooked her, but that's not my place to say. Who knows?
I mean, most people Facebook stalk the ex and or current.
You would think. And I mean, especially friends or something. Oh, I Facebook stalked her and it says that she's pregnant or it says this, you know.
Yeah.
Like I've done that for my friends. I've added people for my friends. This same summer, Shanann goes to visit her parents in North Carolina with her daughters for 6 weeks. They celebrate CeCe's birthday there, and Chris meets them the last week at the end of July because he can't take off work the whole time. And also, I'm sure he's taking advantage of this full-blown affair at this point.
Yeah. He's got 5 full weeks to do whatever he wants. No family around.
Yeah, he's probably loving it.
Pig.
Yep. Say it again.
Pig.
So during this trip with her family, Shanann realizes there's some indication of trouble in her marriage. She's like, Chris isn't texting her that often. He isn't FaceTiming or checking in on the girls. She feels something is off. And she calls him out on this and is rightfully pissed about it. And he makes excuses.
Well, I also feel like if you are choosing to spend 5 weeks away from your husband and you're choosing to remove your children from your husband for 5 full weeks, you've got a little bit of like
indication
not right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long time. And she is visiting family, which is so nice. And he is meeting them the last week, but it's still a long time. But he's making excuses. In one text exchange, she says she realizes what's missing from their relationship. And it is the one-way emotions and feelings. And she's like, I can't come back like that. I need you to meet me halfway here. Which, my guy, if you were feeling some type of way, now would have been the time to say it. But he's a coward and says, quote, "You won't. I love you so much, beautiful."
She's like literally asking for more emotion. And his response is, "You won't.
I love you so much, beautiful."
Like there's literally zero emotion in that sentence.
Yes. And just like blatantly like, oh, nothing's up. It's you. You're being crazy. She even mentions to her mom during this trip that Chris has been different. And she feels like the last few weeks, which it has only been a few weeks at this point that he started this affair, he has changed. Women always know. She's also texting some friends on this trip about it. She texted one friend saying Chris changed and she didn't even feel like he wanted the baby anymore, which has to be
Oh
very
my
hard feeling that way.
gosh, that's so sad.
Terrible. Also, some trouble with Chris's mom occurs during this trip. So Shanann takes the daughters to her in-laws' house, which I think is so nice since Chris isn't there and they didn't come to her wedding.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't want to see that bitch.
And there is clearly bad blood between them from everything. But apparently they get into it because Chris's mom brought ice cream for CeCe that had nuts in it. And CeCe is allergic to nuts.
Maybe if you cared about your son's wife and his children, you would know that.
I find it bizarre that she, quote unquote, didn't know, like she says. But Shanann is like, do not give it to my daughter, please. And Shanann gets very upset and texts Chris, like, you need to tell your dad to tell your mom to chill. Chris is receptive and is like, no, this isn't cool at all. I guess Cindy, which is Chris's mom, claims she had no idea. And she ends up kicking Shanann out of the house.
I would rather kick you out than admit a mistake that I made.
Yep. This was such a bad fight that the in-laws don't even go to CeCe's birthday, which is bizarre. Another bizarre thing to me. Put it away for the grandkids. So things are heated. And Shanann is like, I don't want to see them again. And honestly, I kind of get it. By August, it is clear to everyone that Shanann is worried about her marriage. Chris comes to North Carolina July 31st for the week that he promised to come. But Shanann texts a friend on August 7th saying, quote, he hasn't touched me all week, kissed me, talked to me, except for when I'm trying to figure out what is wrong. We've never had problem in our relationship like this. I just want to cry, quote. Apparently, he only kissed her once. And she does also text a friend saying maybe he's getting sex somewhere else because she showered one of the nights. And I guess that's their tell. Like if she showers right before bed, they're going to have sex that night. And he rejects her and decides to do some push-ups instead.
Do push-ups?
Yep.
I would rather do push-ups than fuck my wife.
Imagine if you are trying, like, say, like she knows something's wrong with their relationship. So she's putting herself out there. She's like, I'm going to shower. Let's do this. And he says like, no, I'm good, and does push-ups.
Literally, at least he's like terrible at having an affair.
Right? Because I mean, it's only been a couple months at this point. Not even.
And he can't even touch her. Like, at least he's not fucking them both, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's nothing good about this situation.
He's still scum. If you cheat on somebody, sorry, you're scum. I don't care. She asks him, who are you sleeping with? And again, this is your time to come clean. Just tell her the truth here. But he says no one. So she thinks about it. And she does realize the only other time he did act this way was right after the wedding when his parents didn't come. So now she assumes it has to do with the fight with the mom.
You were right the first time.
Right? Just manipulating her and being like, nope.
And like, I don't think I'll ever understand cheating. And I know a lot of people don't, but like, you don't have to stay with her. Like, she's literally being like, are you sleeping with somebody else? Is this over? And he's like, no, everything's fine. Like, you could literally be like, hey, babe, sorry, I started something at work. I know you can tell. I don't think this is working anymore. And that's where the story could have ended. And we'd never be talking about it today.
Yes. And that is where like trust in a marriage is a huge thing because, yeah, it would hurt, but just be honest at that point. Just tell the truth. So when the family gets back from the trip in North Carolina, they're back in Colorado. Shanann has a work training in Arizona right after. It does appear before Shanann leaves, though, that they made up the night before because Shanann texts Chris before she leaves, thank you for letting me hold you. And she also leaves a handwritten letter saying how much she missed him and the last 5 weeks have been hard. And it even says she will be civil with his mom. They just need to learn a mutual respect.
She's trying so hard. Like, she is giving this all she's got.
100%, as you should when you make vows to someone in a marriage, not go off and cheat. Near the end, she writes, quote, I will always fight for our marriage and you, end quote.
Oh.
Even though they had appeared to make up, while Shanann is gone on the business trip, this turd monster gets a babysitter for his 2 children at home and goes out with his little girlfriend, which is just so icky.
You're going to leave your kids with a babysitter to cheat
while his wife is on a business trip.
That's unreal to me.
He tells Shanann he is going to the game with some friends. Shanann ends up checking the bank statement, and there is a dinner charge on it, which wouldn't have been unusual, but the total was a lot more than just if one person was getting a meal. And she knows this because the Spatty looked up the menu. So she's like,
let's go, girl.
Yep. So she's obviously
get your receipts. Set up your argument.
She's like, stop lying to me. Here's the proof. So she's obviously really upset. And on the plane ride back, her friend describes her as being very uncomfortable on the plane. Her plane ends up being delayed. So even though she was scheduled to get home August 12th, she doesn't come home until early morning, August 13th. There is video footage on August 13th of her coming home from the trip at around 1:45 to 2 a.m. Her friend dropped her off at her front door.
Also, this man really is bad at having affairs because you're just charging it on your credit card
that you share with your wife, your accounts. What a flippin' dingle. He wants to get caught. Later that morning, her friend doesn't get the usual good morning text. So her and her friend were really close. They would always text each other in the morning. Or she doesn't even get like a check-in from Shanann. So she tries texting and calling and gets no response. So she knows something is wrong and goes to Shanann's house and puts in the door PIN code. But the actual door is locked from the inside with like the chain lock. So her friend can't get into the house.
I feel like too, like her friend was probably like hyper vigilant at this point anyway, because like she knew Shanann was so upset about everything going on and the plane ride was hard for her to like not be in contact that next morning must have been like, she's down bad.
Very true. Let me just go check that she's emotionally okay, I'm sure is what she was thinking. So she can't get in and she ends up calling Chris and is like, where's Shanann? I'm at the house. And Chris tells her that Shanann took the kids on a play date and her friend is like, excuse me, her car is here with the car seats in it. There's no darn way.
I'm so happy this man is so stupid.
He literally is the dumbest box of rocks I've ever met in my life. Shanann even had a gyno appointment that day that she missed. So her friend is like, something is wrong. Even no matter how sad she is, she would not miss this gynecologist appointment.
No, you're not going to miss a chance to check in on your baby.
Exactly. Her friend calls the police and she says Shanann was distraught over the weekend. And when she got to the house, she's really worried because she's nowhere to be found. So she tells the police, like, I can't find her. She was really distraught over the weekend. Police get there. They decide to come out and they check around, but they can't go in unless they have consent from the homeowner because there's no sign of anything being wrong. There's no sign of foul play. But her friend is also a baddie and calls her parents and asks for the garage code.
We have had some stories where we had some good ass friends.
I 100% agree. But sadly, the cops are like, we need permission from the homeowner to go in the garage, so we can't go in.
But she can.
Apparently, Chris told her parents that she was at a girlfriend's house, but did not name a specific person. So already there's some differences in the stories that he's telling.
This man be stupid, and it worked in everyone's advantage.
The friend told Chris when she called the first time, hey, I'm calling the police. So at this time that the police are like, we can't go in the house, Chris gets home and he gets out of the car because there's video footage on this Netflix documentary and he does appear to look concerned. He lets everyone in the house, cops, Shanann's friend, and he appears to be searching the house. They all start walking around the house.
I hate this video. I know exactly what video you're talking about because I watched the Netflix documentary. I hate this video.
It's so rough. As he's looking around the house, he says, quote, all the girls' blankies are gone, quote. Like he's like so shocked about it. Lexi's making gagging faces.
Just because I know.
He also says they don't go anywhere without them. Shanann's purse is also there with her medication in it, which is concerning. All the sheets are ripped off the beds. Her wedding ring is found on the nightstand. And they also find Shanann's phone on the counter shut down.
So she went to this play date and she went to her girlfriend's house with no purse, no phone, no medication, no wedding ring. And before she left, stripped all the fucking beds.
Bizarre.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
When they see the phone, Chris and the friend especially look visibly stressed out because her phone is her lifeline. That's how she works. That's what she does for her job since she works from home. So something is up. When they fire the phone up, there are some texts from Chris. At 7:40 a.m., he texted her, if you take the kids somewhere, please let me know where they are at.
What a weird ass text.
Yep. He also texts her, call me, please. I'm on my way when he leaves to go back home. And then he also texts her one more time, please be there. And then also, where are you?
Nah.
Chris then literally goes to the cops, like on this dash cam video or like on the officer video, that he doesn't know what to do. He's like, okay, I don't know what to do now. Like, I'd be like, okay, let's go to his work. Let's make a plan. Let's figure this out. My husband is missing. And he's just like, I don't know what to do.
I'd be like, this is the play date they were supposed to be at. This is the girlfriend's house I said she was at.
Yep. I'd be go knocking on the darn doors. So on August 13th, 2008, 34-year-old Shanann Watts, who, as a reminder, is 15 weeks pregnant with Nico, and her daughters, CeCe, age 3, and Bella, age 4, are officially reported missing.
Does an Amber Alert go out for the girls?
That is honestly a great question. It did not say in the articles or the documentary. I hope so, but it did not say. A neighbor then comes over to the house. So all this is going on. It's a little bit chaotic, and a neighbor comes over to the house, and he gives the police video from his security cameras in front of the Watts house. His house is at an angle from the Watts house, so it's not head-on footage, but you can see like a little sliver of the Watts house. In front of the police and Chris, they put the security footage on the TV.
Why would you ever do it in front of Chris? Like, this is so ridiculous to me that they did this.
It is just bizarre. And Chris is a little bit fidgety and kind of moving around. And they see at 5:17 a.m., Chris's car is backing in the driveway. Chris tells the police that he had to move tools, but this is the only action they see going in and out of the house. So very odd. Where is Shanann and the girls? Chris walks out of the room to talk to another officer, and the neighbor on this footage is immediately like, he is not acting right. The neighbor says Chris is being super fidgety. Chris is talking a lot, and he never is like that. He also says Chris never loads his tools into his house like that because you're your neighbor. You see things, right?
Yeah.
And the cop does say, well, put yourself in his situation. Maybe he's acting weird because he's nervous about his wife and children being missing.
I like this that his neighbor wants to solve this more than the police do. The
Dude.
neighbor's like, here, let me bring you the footage and tell you about how wackadoodle this guy is because something is not right.
And I'm not lying. It was seconds after Chris walks out of the room. He looks at the cop. He's like, he ain't acting right. Like, the neighbor is like, it's him, buddy. I'm telling you right now. Which, like,
I
good
figured
for
this
you.
out. Can you catch up?
I want him
got
as
it.
my neighbor. Look out for me.
Yes.
Figure it out.
Yes.
The Frederick police, however, are doing the thing. They're passing out flyers. They're searching. They're getting the word out. They're going door to door. They are making it known that she's missing, and they're making it known that they are working the case. One day after his family goes missing, on August 14th, he gives a TV interview from his porch in Frederick, Colorado, begging them to come home. He also says he hopes she is safe with the kids.
Does she look safe with the kids to you? She's left out every belonging, and you think she's just gallivanting around waiting for you to beg her to come home on the television?
Yep. And no tears in this interview. They bring in scent dogs, and he also tells the cops, hey, we did have an emotional conversation the day before. So Chris is telling the cops this, I even cried before she left. Chris tells them the last 6 weeks, they spent some time apart from each other. They found out who they were. And Chris realized the spark was gone.
That Chris realized it? He did?
Yep. And again, this is interesting because he has not cried to the police once. And he's saying, we had this emotional conversation where I started crying to my wife. And they're like, we haven't even seen you cry and your wife and children are missing. Something isn't adding up.
I agree with that. But I also do try not to like judge based on crying and stuff because I know everybody grieves very differently. But in this case, we know that he's a booty butt, boot butt. So
he's definitely a booty butt, boot butt. But you're right. I shouldn't judge based on the grieving. The officer also points out that Chris lost a lot of weight. I guess Chris lost around 100 pounds around this time. And the cop even says, this is classic signs of cheating. And Chris says, I did not cheat on my wife.
Oh my God. You know they're going to go through your phone, buddy. Like, let's just admit it right up front on the table. Also, that's why he's so like cocky all of a sudden now. He loses 100 pounds and he's like, girls at work want me.
Yep. What a big-headed liar, loser.
Who was there for you despite what you looked like? Because weight's not always going to stay off. Weight really doesn't matter. Who's there for your heart? Not this little work girl.
Exactly. Exactly. Police also checked the GPS in Chris Watts' work truck and found he had left his house at 5:46 a.m. on the morning of August 13th and arrived 47 minutes later at a remote oil field known as the Survey 319 oil well, where he worked on site sometimes. So he pulled in the back of his house at 5:17, moved some tools, and then apparently at 5:46 goes to the Survey oil well. On August 15th, just 2 days after the disappearance, the police administer a lie detector test that Chris agreed to. Before he even takes the lie detector test, his breathing is like super off. And the officer giving the test is like, you need to get it together.
Can you imagine? They're trying to give you a lie detector test and they're like, get it fucking together, man.
She literally was like,
asked you a question.
Yeah, she literally was like, you need to get your breathing under control. Like, this is not going to work out if you're breathing like this. So automatically he looks like he's hiding something. He takes the lie detector test. And then the cop is like, okay, you totally lied on this test. So tell us the truth. And Chris is like, no, I didn't. And the cops are like, yes, you did. Just be honest with us.
I like to imagine that he's like still hooked up to the lie detector test. And they're like, you lied on this test. And he's like, no, I didn't. And it's like,
the results. So then again, the cop points out, hey, you're not even crying. So then they're like, just be honest with us. And then he says he only lied about the affair. So now he admits to the affair. Again, the cop points out, hey, you're not even crying, buddy. I feel like there's more than just the affair you're lying about. And in a tactic that was trying to be like, hey, like, let's just get you to start talking, the officer says, did Shanann do something to them and then you do something to her? Chicks are crazy.
I think that this cop should be fired immediately.
I did see a couple videos and articles where people were saying, oh, it's actually a good police tactic. I don't know. I'm not in the police, but I think that's a little extreme. That's not, you're putting something in his head at this point that is going to reflect Shanann terribly. And that's the victim in this case. So I don't love that. He asks to talk to his dad at this point after the officer says this to him. And then the tears start flowing. His dad comes in.
Did he ask to talk to his dad so he could do coke with him to forget the situation? Can you imagine? You're a grown-ass person. You're like, I need my dad.
And his dad comes in. And then I was going to say, remember, they're super close. And he tells his dad, I failed the test. Chris then proceeds to say, they know I had an affair, which just makes me think his dad obviously knew about the affair then too. Because he's not like, oh, I lied and I'm having an affair. He's like, they knew about the affair.
Also, like, this is very performative. Like,
yes.
I did not pass the test, police officers. They have learned about my affair.
Yes, yes. To his dad, Chris says, I came clean about it, which he didn't come clean. The officers were like, what were you lying about? And then he had to. And then his dad is like, okay. Because like, why am I in here? Is there anything else you want to tell me? And Chris goes, like, covers his face. And he's like, I want to protect her.
I hate this man. I hate this man. And I hate this cop because he is too dumb. This guy is too dumb. He's failed every smart test that we've had so far. He's too dumb to come up with the story that Shanann did it all. And that cop put it in his head. And now he's like, oh, I know the cameras are watching me in here with my dad. So let me put on this performance. Oh my God.
And with some prompting, Chris's disgusting self tells his father this horrific lie. He says, and this is a lie. He says he saw on the monitor Shanann strangling their youngest daughter, Celeste, and that the older daughter, Bella, was lying on the bed looking blue. Chris's dad is in shock, and he's like, what? And Chris says that's what caused him to strangle his wife, which, again, is the biggest crack of poo I think I've ever heard in my whole entire life.
This is why I couldn't do this case. This is why I couldn't do it. I am disgusted and upset and angry and every freaking bad emotion you could ever feel.
And don't worry, he eventually tells, I want to say the truth, but we don't know if it's the full truth, but he eventually tells that that isn't the case, that Shanann did not do that. And I will get to it when he tells people that. After he comes quote unquote clean to his dad, he tells this horrific lie. Chris tells the cops this, and Chris says, I dropped their bodies in an oil tank, even though he didn't kill them. That's what he did to his children. And then he buried Shanann, his wife's body, nearby. The cop does say, "Are you okay with the public knowing Shanann hurt those girls?" And she says this twice to him. And the other cop is like, "I think you killed the girls before Shanann got home. And then when she got home that night, you killed her." So the cops
Because that cop has a brain in his head.
Yes, the cops definitely don't believe him. Again, it was that police tactic that I don't think is great. But anyway, Chris isn't changing his story at this point. And on August 15th, Chris Watts is officially arrested and taken into custody just 2 days after his wife and children were missing.
That's fast. Good on them.
Very fast. Now, apparently that morning of August 15th, the mistress calls the police to officially say that she is the mistress in the situation, which good for her. But before she came into the police station to be questioned, because she did agree to that, the mistress also deleted everything before going in. Call logs, texts, internet browsers, but like they can still find that stuff.
I was just going to say, you dumb girl. These are dumb people. Like, these are the police.
If you have an affair, you're dumb.
Yeah, that's true.
So she goes in, she admits to the affair, and she even tells them that Chris has been acting really weird. She says, the mistress, that she talked to Chris Monday night, the same night his family is officially reported missing, and that he was sleeping. And she thought that that was super weird because his family is missing. So one, why would you be sleeping? And two, Chris also seemed to be more concerned with their relationship than his missing family.
Yeah, I could see like if they really were having an affair, like maybe being less worried if it was just your wife that was missing, but like your two children are missing.
Yeah, and 3 because she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Chris was also laying on a mattress with no sheets when they FaceTimed, and Chris apparently told her that they were dirty.
Yeah, I wonder why.
The mistress also says that she did talk to a friend about wanting her own family, but she never said that to Chris ever, but possibly he did interpret conversations the wrong way.
I don't care if you interpret it that she wants her own family. That doesn't mean see a mine.
Exactly.
And now, that's not at all probably what that lady wanted in saying that she wanted her own family. It's probably like, I want my own children to be siblings with your current children.
Yeah, and just thinking and voicing her concerns if she really thinks he's getting divorced. I did always want my own family. I don't know how I feel about this blended situation. Normal things to think about. But now on to some interesting Google searches and phone searches that show up on both ends.
I'm excited about this because they're both a bunch of dummies.
It comes out that when Chris appeared on TV to plead for his family's safe return, August 14th, his web history revealed that he was Googling jewelry and weekend getaways for his girlfriend.
So he's like in the green room waiting for his time to shine on TV. Like, hey, where should I go this weekend with my new girly girl?
This dum-dum, Chris, also called the school unenrolling his daughters that day and contacted a realtor to sell the house.
He said, they're never going to know it's me. I'm going to call, even though I'm supposed to just think my children are missing, and unenroll them from school.
Them.
And also be like, hey, my wife and missing kids, they don't need a house to come back to.
Trash. Now, the mistress searches. 5 days before the murders, she Googled wedding dresses and also Googled marrying your mistress.
Wait, he Googled marrying your mistress?
She did.
What is that? What are you looking for?
This girl Googled a lot. She also Googled some weird stuff that I was like, woof. But she Googled, wedding dresses, then marrying your mistress. I don't know what you find when you Google that.
Like, I'm so curious as to what were you looking for? Like reassurance that other people do it and that's okay?
Perhaps. Also, after she found out that Shanann, CeCe, Bella, and Nico were missing, she Googled, quote, do people hate Amber Frey, quote. And for those of you who don't know Amber Frey was Lacey Peterson's husband's mistress, which we are also going to cover soon. But
so I'm sorry. She's like, do people end up hating the mistress when the man kills their whole family?
Seems a little sus. She also Googled Amber Frey's net worth and her book deal.
Stop it right now. This
what?
Girl, all I can think in my head is, you're so vain. You probably think this crime is about you.
Stop right now.
This bitch.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
She's not a girl's girl. I do not stick up for her anymore. This girl,
Something odd. Watts later did admit, though, that Kessinger, the mistress, would get upset about being quote unquote second fiddle to Shanann, but never once asked him to get rid of his family or play any part in the murders. And after his arrest, they did not speak again. Some articles mentioned, and I don't know, I did not dive super deep into this, but that possibly she's in the witness protection program, which is very interesting if that's true. But I have no idea if that's actually true. I just saw it in a couple articles.
who's she witness protecting against?
I literally don't know. A day later, they find the bodies on the property where Chris works. Which, what is with these men taking their deceased spouses to work? Because that was also in the Grant case.
Yes.
On August 21st, Watts was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, including an additional 1 count per child, cited as, quote, death of a child who has not yet attained 12 years of age, and the defendant was in a position of trust, unquote. Unlawful termination of a pregnancy, and 3 counts of tampering with a deceased human body. So they're throwing the book at him. His first court appearance, he is denied bail, and then a second is set at $5 million, and he has to put 15% down. Yeah, so he doesn't go out.
I love when they do that. When they're like, "Okay, fine, we'll give you bail. $5 million.
Yeah,
you got it? Nope. Sorry."
They know he's a trash bag.
Yes.
3 months later, on November 6th, Chris pleaded guilty to the murders. So goes by quickly.
At least he pleaded guilty, but it's whatever.
The death penalty was not put forward on the request of Shanann's family, who said there were already too many deaths. Sandy, Shanann's mom, said, quote, he made the choice to take those lives. I don't want to be in the position to take his, quote.
Wow, that's very mature.
Huge person.
And thoughtful.
Yep. They were supportive of him taking the plea deal. He is sentenced.
Who wants to go through trial and have to listen to all the horrible effing details?
And the gruesome.
No.
Yep.
Let's plea deal it all.
He is sentenced to 5 life sentences, 3 consecutive and 2 concurrent, without the possibility of parole.
Oh, yes.
He received an additional 48 years for the unlawful termination of Shanann's pregnancy and 36 years for 3 charges of tampering with a deceased body. Good.
Yes.
Watts makes no statement, and he is convicted and sentenced to a prison in Colorado. But due to security reasons, he is transferred to a prison in Wisconsin, where he is in general pop.
There's nothing in Wisconsin. It's so boring. I know that you're in a prison and you're not going to see anything anyways, but haha.
They have the Wisconsin Dells.
That's the only thing in Wisconsin, I'm pretty sure.
I'm sorry if you're from Wisconsin. Lex has so many for you guys.
No, I just have driven through it so many times and I'm like, do people live here?
Fair. It is not until February 2019 that Chris Watts admits publicly to killing his wife, daughters, and son. So he finally admits Shanann did not kill the daughters.
Oh, wow. Nobody figured that out.
Yep.
Yeah, you were charged with the kids' murders. We all got it.
He waits to say till February 2019, which is sick. Now, this is rough. And this is from his scumbag account. So again, as always, I'm sure it's not 100% truthful. But according to him, when Shanann Watts got home that night, they had sex. They woke up the morning of August 13th.
Why does he have to say that? How is that relevant to this fucking story? You
Agreed.
Disgusting, dirty pig.
And to be honest, from the timelines, I don't even really believe it, if I'm being honest. But they woke up the morning of August 13th. Chris says that he told Shanann he wanted a separation that morning. She apparently said to him that he would never see their daughters again, and that caused him to strangle her to death.
These are all lies because she literally gave you an out. She said, are you seeing somebody else? What, twice? And then all of a sudden you woke up this morning and were like, I'm going to come clean about everything.
I also want to point out why I think that he's not telling 100% the truth. I read in a couple sources, I believe it was either her dad or her brother that said she would have fought back. She was a fireball. She even admitted being quote unquote the dominant one. She wouldn't have just let Chris Watts choked her. So they believe that he did it while she was sleeping. And honestly, I agree. Because as a reminder, she didn't even get home till 2 a.m. and he was backing into the garage at 5:17 a.m. So
Oh my
they fell
gosh.
asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had sex, and then he told her that he wanted a separation, and then he killed her all in that time frame. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that's what, like 3 hours? Yeah.
Not like 2.5.
Yeah.
No, I'm lying. 3. I'm bad at math. But
She was an
still,
English major, people. She was an English major.
but still, right? So 3 hours and all of that happened. Chris, I don't believe.
No.
Especially she's tired. She's got off a plane. Come on. Anyway, so again, from his account, after he strangles his wife, Shanann, to death, he drags her down the stairs, and 4-year-old Bella sees it.
I hope, for the love of God, that part's not true.
He admits that his daughters were alive when he put them in the back seat of the truck with Shanann's body laying on the ground, their feet dangling over it.
Oh, you're such a good dad.
And this gets worse and worse. They ask him if their mom is okay because obviously they're young, but they know something's up. Their mom's laying down, not moving or breathing. And he responds with, she will be. He then made the 47-minute long drive to his work. 47 minutes to change your mind about killing your daughters, Chris. Now, this is a lot. But when they arrive to his work, he takes Shanann's body out of the truck and buries her in that shallow grave. He then smothers CeCe, who is 3, in the back seat of the truck and dumps her body in an oil tank while poor 4-year-old Bella watches. He says that Bella asked him, is the same thing going to happen to me as CeCe?
Oh my God.
And she's also saying no, no, no. And this is even rougher. He then smothers Bella, and there is evidence that she fought back, which is so sad and terrible at 4 years old to fight your dad back from smothering you. And then dumps her body in an oil tank as well. So just absolutely sickening and heartbreaking.
I hope every single day of this man's life, his brain has him smothering his daughters on repeat. I hope he sits in that jail cell and that is all he thinks about from the time he wakes up till the time he goes to sleep, and then he falls asleep and dreams about it.
I agree, because I can't believe there are people in the world that are like that, to be honest.
No matter how angry you are with your wife, there is nothing that 4-year-old or 3-year-old child did.
Nope.
Not a singular thing. And if you really wanted to go start this new life with this new mistress, her parents would have gladly taken these little girls.
110%.
You did not have to kill them to not have a family.
Nope.
And also, your whole ass story doesn't make sense. Like, oh, Shanann said that she was never going to let me see the kids again. So I killed her and then killed them so I could never see them again, which is exactly what Shanann said would happen. No, sir.
You're right. I didn't even think about that. The whole reason he killed Shanann was because he, quote unquote, wouldn't have been able to see his kids anymore. And then he killed his kids.
And then you immediately kill your children.
Yeah.
So no, that was not why you killed her. You killed her and those children because you thought you could go have a great time with Nancy Francie Patsy Poo. I don't care about her name because she's horrible too. And you fucking ruined everyone's lives because your selfish ass wanted to fuck somebody else.
Sicko. He's a sicko. Disgusting pig. He also says that if he did not meet his mistress, he probably would not have done it, which I think is even more sick because it's kind of putting the blame at the mistress at this point.
Yeah. And it just reminds me of like the Brian Laundrie thing we just talked about, where it's like, it's not 100% my fault.
Yes.
I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for this.
Yep. You killed somebody. That's 100% your fault. In this case, you killed 4 people. That's 100% your fault.
And you fucking somebody else, your dick in somebody else's vagina is not why you became a killer.
Yep. Say it louder because that's so true. He also started writing a random lady while he was in jail who ends up publishing his letters. But it is very known that Shanann's family does not support this book whatsoever or this lady. But in those letters, he did admit to premeditating the murders and knowing that he would be doing it the night before when he tucked in his girls, which is disgusting.
You tucked in your fucking 3-year-old little innocent baby girl who's never done anything wrong in her entire life and said, I'm going to kill you tonight.
I also want to remind you that he told the mistress when they first met that the divorce would be final in August. And in August is when he did all of this. So he's disgusting. He also tells this lady in the letters that he always had a lingering fear that he would do something wrong.
Then that's, my friend, is when we go see a psychologist and say, hey, I have these crazy thoughts and I think I might act on them. I need help.
Yep. While in prison so far, Chris does have 2 infractions because of contraband. One infraction lost him phone privileges for 15 days and canteen privileges for 30 days, which is basically like items you can buy yourself. The other infraction, he lost electronic privileges for 10 days. Apparently, and I feel like this is going to rile you up, Lex, he also keeps photos of his wife and children in his cell.
Why are you allowed to do that? Why?
Well,
if I was a guard, I would literally take them in front of him and flush them down the toilet.
This caused outrage, just like you just said. Like, why are you allowed to do this? In a petition where a bunch of people signed it to have them taken down. But the prison said they can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I can take them off the wall and flush them down the toilet.
Or give them to the family.
No, I want to see him suffer while he watches them go
you're
down
right.
the toilet.
Yeah, all right. I feel that vibe.
Yeah, I'll get you a digital print, family.
In prison, he works as a custodian, and apparently he writes to women as well. He also allegedly has turned to God.
He has not.
I said, good for you, buddy, because you need all the prayers you can get because you are the worst kind of human in the whole entire world. I think there's a special place for you. You will be going, and you need any prayer you can have, my good man.
It's going to be sweaty down there.
Chris Watts was ordered to pay Shanann's parents $6 million in a wrongful death lawsuit.
That's great. I know they won't see that money, but that's great.
I agree. Because he's a piece of poo. Unfortunately, Shanann's family dealt with a lot throughout this, not only because of the gruesome things their son-in-law did to their daughter and grandchildren, but unfortunately, there's a lot of bullying throughout this and victim blaming because people are literally awful. Even a couple of the books out there, like I said earlier, paint Shanann in a really terrible light. And while I was doing research for this, I came across some Reddit posts where people are still victim blaming, which is absolutely disgusting because nobody deserves this at all, ever.
I'm sorry. Are we forgetting that a 3 and a 4-year-old have been murdered?
Yep.
Like, no one makes somebody do something like this at all.
No.
So there is no blaming. But like, this man admitted to tucking in his children, knowing that in a few hours he was going to kill them. And we're going to blame the mom?
Yep. And by all accounts, people said she was a ball of love. She loved her kid. She was a fireball, but she was doing it out of love and things like that.
Literally don't care if she was the worst human being on this earth. No one gets to decide when you die, and no one gets to decide when 2 innocent children die.
Agreed. In an amazing way, Shanann's parents are leaning on their Catholic faith to get them through it. So I'm going to end with a quote from her mother about Shanann and her grandchildren. She said, quote, "I couldn't ask God for more. He really blessed us with them. She was an amazing daughter. She was a best friend. She wanted to soar the earth. And she always said, Mom, I want to leave my mark on the earth. And she did." Unquote.
That's very sweet.
And that's the insane, disgusting murders of Shanann Watts, CeCe Watts, Bella Watts, and Nico Watts.
I'm so glad that you did this one because I hate it. 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 I hate it.
I know you got teary-eyed. I saw you.
Yeah. It's just, especially when it comes to little girls, like that is the person who is supposed to protect you the most in life.
It's your dad.
And they look right at you while you are asking them to keep you safe, and they still choose to go on with that. It's just unreal to me that somebody can be that heartless. You're not a human at that point. You're not a human if you can look into a little kid's eyes while they beg you to stop, especially something that you created.
Yep.
Like even just a normal child, like a child that's not related to you in any way, shape, or form. It's a monster to be able to kill them. But to look at something that you created that is part you, that is 50% you, and to hear her say, Daddy, no, 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 and be able to just go through and kill her and throw her body away like it was trash.
First off, you're a poo-poo person. If you cheat, he's a poo-poo person because he clearly was lying and manipulating her to believe something else. Poo-poo person because he strangles and murders his wife and then ends up killing his son in the process. And then poo-poo person for then killing his 2 daughters. Literally, absolutely no reason. Get a divorce, buddy. Be honest with her. Figure it out. There are different ways to go about it. Tell her, I really want to be with my mistress. And I know that's going to hurt, but this is what I want in life and you deserve better.
Yeah. And she had a support system around her. She had her family. She had people who would support her and those children.
She had her family. She had really good friends. Lives gone way too soon. Just absolutely awful.
You could have been a deadbeat dad. You could have said, hey, I actually am done with this, all of this. Like, not just you, but like this whole thing in general. Like, I don't want to be a part of these kids' lives. And she would have been fine. It would have hurt.
You would still be a crappy person, at least on a murder.
Yeah. Those kids would have, felt something missing for a long time. But those kids wouldn't have looked into the eyes of the man they trusted the most in this world as the life was sucked out of them.
I 100% agree with you. Disgusting.
Well, I feel like after we talk about cases like this, I need to like watch a funny show or.
Yeah, 100%.
Are you watching anything on TV right now? What are you guys watching?
I am watching, funny wise, I'm watching the new episodes of Abbott Elementary and Sex Lives of College Girls, which is funny.
Oh, I haven't started the next season of Sex Life of College Girls yet. We have been watching Schitt's Creek, which we're now at the part of Schitt's Creek where it's like not as funny and it's more. We just finished season 5. Dustin was like, so
is this his first time?
So he's watched through season 3 before and then stopped. So when I was talking about it one time and realized that, I was like, oh, you've only seen like funny, silly Schitt's Creek. Like you've never seen like where it gets like emotional and you start to like
cry on some episodes.
Yeah, so they just finished. The end of season 5 is when they finished Cabaret. So he was like, we need a break before the next season. So we've been watching, though. It's called Another Period. And it's like a fake like documentary, like a mockumentary. Is that what it's called?
Those are
like
funny.
The Office.
Yeah.
But it's based on like these 2 rich sisters in like the 1900s.
Oh my God. That's kind of funny.
It's so stupid, silly. I crack up every episode.
We like stupid, silly.
Yes.
Also, baddies, we finished our December book and we have decided to put out, drum roll please, a mini, Lexi's dancing to my drums. We decided we're going to put out a bonus episode and just see how it goes of us talking about the book. So we don't have to, waste a lot of time in the beginning about it. And we get to take little breaks from these really hard cases and talk about fun book stuff.
Yes. And speaking of breaks from these really hard cases, it is a true crime podcast, so it's not going to be all sunshine and roses. But I needed a break from the heaviness of all these domestic violence deaths that we've been doing. So I'm going to switch up and do something a little different next week.
I'm excited. Also, tell the baddies our December book.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. So our December book is called The Naturals, and it is a fiction crimey book. So it kind of fits in right away. And guess what, Sam?
It's another series book.
But it's the first in the series this time.
Woo! That gives us a good credit there.
We are doing so much better at this. It's amazing. We're learning. It is by Jennifer Lynn Barnes.
So read it and definitely look at the Insta where we'll post about it and post our reviews for A Court of Mist and what is it? Fury before we do our little pod episode.
Yes. So thank you so much for listening. Remember, please give us a follow on whatever platform that you are listening to your podcast right now. Hit that little follow or subscribe button so that way you can catch all of our new episodes as soon as they drop. And don't forget our Instagram is at Bloodshed Baddies. Also, if you want to send us an email with a case suggestion, or you can comment on Instagram like Julia did, you can send that to our email address, which is bloodshedbaddies@gmail.com.
Give us a nice review because it helps us out. Hit that little 5-star button as well. Don't forget intro music is made by Cousin Vinny and check him out. Tell a friend, tell a coworker, tell a sibling, aunt, uncle, boss, ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, and tune in next week for Lexi's case I'm excited for.
Please send our podcast to all of your exes.
Yeah, just like, hey, want to hear some really dark stuff?
I know we didn't work out, but you know what did? This podcast.
Just do it. Nike.
Bye.
Love you.